Welcome to part 2 of the St. Mary's University course registration tutorial. In part 1, we covered how to activate your St. Mary's University account and where to find the first year course registration guides. Now, in part 2, we're going to go through the process of registering for classes and building your schedule. I recommend having a piece of paper and a pen or a calendar in front of you so that as you are registering for classes, you can write down the day and the time that you have selected so that you're not overlapping classes. Also, I find it helpful to have 3 tabs open: the St. Mary's University homepage, the course registration guide that we went over in part 1, and the academic calendar where you can navigate and read individual course descriptions. So from the homepage smu.ca, we are going to log into self-service banner. So we will hover on quick links, self-service banner, and enter self-service banner. This is where you're going to put in your St. Mary's University credentials. So this is going to be your St. Mary's email and the password that you activated. It's typically your first name dot your last name at smu.ca, but you can refer back to your information from part 1. Once you have logged in, we will choose Student and Registration. Now, there are a few different ways that you can access the course schedule, but for this example, I am going to show you how to start at Lookup Classes. So the first thing we're going to do is select the term that we are registering for. So if you are a new student starting in September 2024, you're going to register for the classes you're taking in September and also the classes you're taking in January. However, you cannot register for a January class until you've registered for at least one class in the September to December semester. So we're going to walk through the September to December term first, and then we can move on to January. So once I've selected the term, I will then hit submit. Now here we have a list of all of the subjects that we can choose from in this term. If I'm referencing the course registration guide to find the classes that I need, I will use an English class for this example. So if I'm looking for one English class at the 1000 level, I will find English from the course list, course search, and this gives me all of the different English classes that are available in the September to December term or semester. So if you are wondering what year a certain course is, again, the first number of the course code is going to correspond with the year of study. So if the first number is a 1, it's a first year course. The first number is a 2, it's a second year course. 3, third year, 4, fourth year. So if I know I need to take one English course at the 1000 level, at the first year level, I can choose any of these English courses that start with a 1. So I have 5 different options. If I'm not sure which one I want to take, I can pop over to the academic calendar and I can search the courses here and read the description. So if I decide I'd like to do English 1205, Introduction to Literature, I will click View Sections, and this brings me to all of the different sections that this class is happening in. So there's lots of information here that you can look at when you're deciding which particular section you would like to select that goes with your schedule. So you'll see here the CRN, which is the course registration number. That's important if you are looking up your courses in advance and you want to be able to quickly register. So if you decide that a certain section works for you, you can also jot down the CRN number, and I can show you how to quickly register once we've walked through this first part. So I see the name of the course, Introduction to Literature. Under days, you'll see the days of the week that this class is happening. So typically classes are happening twice a week for 1 hour and 15 minutes, or once a week for 2.5 hours. So classes will be happening on Mondays and Wednesdays, that's M and W, or on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's T and R. So R means Thursday. If you see a single letter like F, that means that class is only happening on Friday. So if you only see an R, that's only on Thursday. Only see a T, only on Tuesday. You can see the time that the class is happening. You'll see the capacity of the class, so how many seats are in that class, how many people have actually registered for that class, the remaining number of seats, and a few other bits of information, but you can see the instructor, the date that it's happening, where it's happening on campus or online. An attribute is important because this is where you're going to see any special note that is significant to that particular section. So this is where you'll see whether the class is happening on campus, whether it's happening online, whether it's asynchronous or synchronous, and you can see the attribute column definitions here above the different sections. So if I look through these sections, I only have to choose one. So maybe I decide that I would like to do Monday and Wednesday from 1 to 2:15. That seems like it's going to work with my schedule. I will hit the little box over here and register. Now I have successfully registered for this class. If you were not able to register successfully, you would see an error pop up. This would show you that your registration did not go through. If you tried to register for a class that was full, there might be a waitlist option, and that will be displayed here for you as well, and you'll be able to select waitlisted from this drop-down menu and submit those changes to add yourself to the waitlist. I had mentioned the CRN code previously, so if you go through and you jot down the CRN of all the courses you decide that you'd like to take, you can quickly add the CRNs in, and it will register you for all of them at the same time if you don't want to go through this process of manually selecting your courses. But this is a great practice because it helps you navigate the system and ensures that you're not, taking classes that are overlapping at the same time. So once I've registered for my first class, I can then follow the process and continue for my second class. So I can choose registration again from the top, look up classes. Again, it's the September to December term. I will hit submit. Perhaps I am a student who's doing the Bachelor of Commerce program, and I need to register for the Introduction to Business Management class, Management 1281. So when I'm looking up my classes, I will choose Management, and I see Intro to Business Management is the first option. I will hit View Sections. So again, we're going to look at the attributes section here because this is going to tell us something important, and that is that there is a lab required for this class. So if you are in a class that requires a lab, that is going to be indicated under the attributes section. So in order for you to successfully register for a class with a lab, you must register for the class and the lab at the same time on this course registration page. So I see that the first 3 sections of this class are the actual lecture and classroom portion of the class, because I can see that the attribute lab required is attached to all 3 of those. So I can choose whichever one works with my schedule. There's Monday from 1 to 2:15, Wednesday 1 to 2:15, and the third option is online. So if I choose the Monday class from 1 to 2:15, I have to choose the lab on Wednesday. And that lab has to also be on campus because it tells me there under attribute on campus. So I would choose the class Monday, and then the lab I would choose Wednesday. If I was doing it the other way around, I would choose the class on Wednesday and the lab on Monday. It doesn't matter which lab section you choose, as long as that lab is on the Monday or the Wednesday, whatever is referenced in the attribute section. You will see the labs down here that are asynchronous. Those would be the labs that you could choose from for the asynchronous online class section. So I would check both of those and hit register. As you can see here, I have an error because I already have another class taking place at the time of the lab. So that does not allow me to register for the class portion or the lab portion. I would need to go back and redo it. Because I already have a class scheduled Monday and Wednesday at 1 to 2:15, I might have to change that English class. That's why it's important to kind of have that schedule and that pen that you can kind of jot this down, because when you get a registration error, it doesn't tell you which class and which time. So to avoid that from happening, you can write it down. It makes it a lot easier. So I would then register myself for the sections that do work with my schedule. So once you've gone through and you have registered for all of your classes for that specific term, you can then move on and you can register for another term. So I would choose to go home. I will start again at student registration, look up classes, and for term I would choose January to April, but it's 2025. And I would follow the same method here. If I am a science student and I'm taking biology and I know that I'm taking molecular and cell biology, I would do the same thing. I would find the section. I would then register for it. I want to show you how to register for a full year class. So in some cases, you may have the option to do a full year class, which would be 6 credit hours. So 3 credit hours is one class that is 1 semester in length. 6 credit hours is one class that is 2 semesters in length. So if you are someone who is taking a philosophy course, Critical Thinking, Philosophy 1200. When you choose the sections, you will see under attribute that it is a full year course. So that means that if I decide I would like to take Philosophy 1200 Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 11:15, I would select that and hit register. However, I then also need to go back and I would need to change my term, and I would need to select the same section of philosophy in the winter semester. So I would go to Critical Thinking, and again I would need to choose the same section of the course, and I would then be able to register for the second part. So once you have registered for all of your classes, you can then go into Week at a Glance, which will show you what a full week is going to look like for you in the semester. You also can look at Student Detail Schedule, which will tell you where the class is happening, the days of the week, the professor, and all of the kind of finer details of the class. And there are a number of different ways that you can look at different things, but we were chatting about those CRNs, the course registration number. If you decide that you know exactly what courses you want to take, you can pop them into the CRN section. If something happens and you need to drop a class, this is also where you would do that. So under Action, you would then select Web Drop if you need to drop your classes or change your classes. Now, again, classes that have a lab component, you do need to drop the lab in order to drop the class and then re-register for both. It's also important for you to know that if you register for courses and something changes and you're not able to join us at St. Mary's, you will have to drop all of your courses. Otherwise, you will still be financially responsible for paying for those classes. And obviously, we don't want that to happen. So just drop all of your classes, and that will just ensure that everything is smooth and good for you. If you have questions on registration, again, there's lots of information in the course registration guide on different terms, vocabulary, what credit hours mean, the wait list option for you if a course is full. The academic advisor contact information is also here, and you can also contact our team if you have more questions. Happy registration. We can't wait to welcome you to St. Mary's, and good luck.